Here in Mount Elgon in Uganda, people are concerned that traditional social supports will be overwhelmed. We are concerned about economic, social and environmental crises. When you move around the villages, you hear people talking about how things are not easy. Families are becoming increasingly difficult to sustain. Children are at risk of abandonment, and conversations about these issues can bring forth anger, frustration, neglect, anguish and discrimination. These are the clouds that encircle our communities. We must find ways to raise our heads above these clouds to where hope, joy and peace and comfort lie.
Even in circumstances of poverty, disease and hardship, communities have their own resources. Community members have their own histories and particular knowledges and skills. They have their own hopes and dreams. We are using these existing resources. We're using our own histories in ways that inspire action.
To begin, we call a meeting and start to talk together. During the first part of this meeting, we ask participants to tell their stories about what they are proud of in relation to their family, their community, and their own lives. We ask them to tell us how they have survived up until now. As people tell their stories, the facilitators ask more questions. We ask how they have taken particular steps, who else was involved, and so on. We help them to name the different skills and the special knowledge that they have been using to survive. After people have shared their stories, the Mount Elgon volunteers stand up and speak. We offer outsider witness responses. We speak about what we have heard in people's stories and what was most important to us. We describe how these stories have affected us. These outsider witness conversations powerfully honour people's skills and knowledge. These retellings take place in a ceremonial way. We take care to honour people's stories through song and traditional dance. We then ask a further question. What does this say about your dreams and hopes for your future? And so participants start to speak about their hopes and dreams. These might be hopes for their own lives or hopes for their families or community. These might include taking care of children, ensuring food security, taking children to school, building a better house, or initiating income-generating projects. Once people start to speak about their dreams, we want to learn about the history of these dreams. Where did these dreams come from? Who passed them on?
There is always a social history to people's dreams and wishes. By inviting people to speak about their hopes, and then by tracing the social history of these, a rich textual heritage is created. It is this process that's referred to as raising heads above the clouds.
Muyama connected her dream of ensuring food security for her family with her grandmother, who used to work so hard to provide food. Muyama told us stories of how her grandmother would work in the garden from sunrise to sunset. She would come home only to prepare food for her children before again returning to her labours. We then challenge participants to take an action, to come up with a particular assignment that will be the next step towards fulfilling their dreams. It can be a small step or a large step. Our entire approach is built around making it possible for people to take action and then ensuring that this action is sustainable. Participants write down the commitment to the action they have made. In fact, if there is time, each participant creates a booklet around this theme. These booklets remind us of our strengths, skills and knowledge. These documents are then read aloud and shared among the group. They are also placed in our community library. People read these booklets and give reflections back to the authors. This brings excitement about what people have committed to. Once this process begins, you just can't stand by and watch. Everyone wants to get involved. It becomes possible to run without getting weary.
At Mount Elgon, as people's heads have been raised above the clouds, a range of different projects and initiatives have been established.
Women's savings and business clubs allow women to save money to enable particular economic projects. In this way, women can support each other to move out of poverty and into self-reliance. Many people live in poor housing, which does not protect them from the wind and the rain. So we have developed ways to mobilise the community and build new homes. Children can play a key part in community projects. Children form clubs in which they discuss what projects they can initiate, such as growing some crops or raising chickens for sale. Through these projects, children are able to provide a small income towards school materials, clothing and their future. At first, because of our limited resources, we could only support one child per family. We worried what effects this might have, so we talked with children and parents in the community and they came up with a beautiful idea.
Why not let the child you have supported give a gift to the other children in the family, such as a gift of seeds? This will enable the other children to start projects of their own. This teaches children about the gift of giving, and it's self-sustaining.
Young people in our communities also develop projects. These include peer education around HIV/AIDS and sexuality, looking after children in their villages, and forming food growing and economic projects. Most of the villages rely on firewood for cooking, and this leads to health and environmental problems. So we have started a solar and windmill project, which allows us to cook, have light, and run pumps to help cultivate our crops. We are making our own solar panels, which also helps provide local employment.
Within Uganda, football is loved. It's a source of joy, delight and companionship. The team of life is a collective narrative methodology which uses sporting metaphors. It enables people to talk about who are their teammates in their teams of life. They also speak about the goals these teams have scored and the goals their teams are now trying to achieve. This approach also allows people to speak about the values they are defending and the ways in which they are tackling problems. In this way, children and adults can come together to talk about what's important in their lives and how to deal with hardships in a way that's one step removed, through a metaphor that they love engaging with.
The most powerful thing we can do is to enable community members to do things themselves and then acknowledge their achievements. When the solar project was launched, Caleb Wakungu gave the following speech.
We acknowledge the achievements of our young people. They may not have had shoes, enough clothes or books to use at school, and at times they may have gone without food. But they persisted through adversity to go on to higher institutions of learning, and now they've done something that no one else has done in our community. They've made our first solar panels. Over so many generations, our people have struggled to protect their crops from the heat of the sun and the strength of the winds. Often the winds have destroyed our crops, blown the roofs off our houses, and sometimes we've wilted under the heat of the sun. Now, though, the dreams of our ancestors have come true. Now, whenever it is too hot, we will know that this heat will bring us light in the darkness. And when the winds are blowing, we will know that they are bringing us power. The hard work of our young people has made it possible for us to harness the heat of the sun. We acknowledge the achievements of our young people. It may not have been so easy for them along the way, but we're so happy that they raised their heads above the clouds.